Hi, I'm Shumona Chakravarti.
I am Shujan Mukherjee. We are from the museums team at DAG, and we are going to tell you everything we know about digital storytelling. DAG is one of the world's largest collectors of Indian modern art, and in 2019, a part of this collection was opened out to the public through two museum initiatives, Drishakala in Delhi and Ghore Baire in Kolkata, India. As a museum that opened just a few months before the pandemic hit, digital storytelling became our only way to connect with our audience and build a community at the start. We started a project called Museum Stories, publishing 13 video stories on our Instagram account over 3 months.
To start this how-to video, we'll begin with the why we think stories matter, especially in the context of galleries, museums, and archives. Let's look at three paintings from our collection to attempt to answer this question. Usually, they sit in three separate galleries and we don't see the connections between them. But as we started weaving them together through our museum story Homebound, we started looking at the characters within these frames more carefully. In these images, we saw reflections of what we were seeing in the news around us in March 2020. Images of people fleeing their homes during the cyclone or taking a long and treacherous march home at the beginning of the pandemic. The story that came together through these images about our times immediately received an overwhelming response online, reaffirming to us why stories matter. They matter because they can help connect objects and artworks from the past to our present in powerful ways. They matter because they can help create new connections and interpretations that go beyond the set narrative of the museum. Stories also matter because they help us to connect to artworks at an emotional, personal, and sensorial level, going beyond what is obvious and connecting with the artwork at a more intimate and personal level. Seeing the image of this solitary woman and then listening to the story of Satarya Hemrom, who walked 1,800 kilometers to get home, forced us to confront this harsh reality. For us museum professionals, this is a rare and special connection that we hope our audiences can experience through the artworks.
How did we go about making these stories and what did we learn in the process? We hope some of these tips can help you on your own digital storytelling adventures. First, we took a long, hard look at our collection and tried to list all the micro stories we could think of. Within this larger narrative of the evolution of Bengal art, there were so many of these mini stories waiting to be told of the women who were unseen, the animals who inhabit our world, the gods and goddesses who have their own intimate drama, or the travels of artists. The list went on and on. From this, we chose stories that we felt passionately about and that connected strongly to our times. We chose three artworks that would help us tell this story most powerfully. Then we reached out to others in our community who would feel as strongly as we did about these stories, inviting them to come on board as narrators. We then started writing, going through many versions. The beauty and the challenge of making 3 minute videos is that every word must add meaning, feeling, and rhythm to the story. The next step was recording and editing, which we kept fairly simple. We used basic tools like Windows Movie Maker and the narrators. They recorded their stories on their phones, emailed it to us. At the end of the week, we put all this together and were ready to publish on Instagram and, well, wait to see how people respond.
So, what did we learn about digital storytelling and how can you apply it to telling stories about artworks and objects? Firstly, try not to focus your story on conveying information. The objective of a story is not to educate the viewer or the listener, but to tap into their emotions and their imaginations. Start with the details and build up from there. Simply put, take your audience on a journey instead of getting directly to the point.
Let the images and texts work together to tell the story. Don't use the text to simply describe what's in the image, and don't let the image be a direct representation of the text. Each have their own language and can come together in beautiful ways to create a narrative that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Try different voices, different narrative styles. Don't talk about the objects like you usually do in a catalog or in a caption. Instead, think about a travelogue, a letter, or even a conversation between friends. Trying different voices and narrative styles will bring your objects to life in completely new ways.
Finally, and perhaps most importantly, digital storytelling allows us to collaborate with people across geographical divides. So, build stories together with people across borders, across disciplines. Our narrators added so much value to these stories. Their own practices, research, ideologies were reflected in these stories, and through them, we were able to reach their unique audiences and communities. There were people who may not have been interested in the art per se, but were interested in the diverse fields like partition history, feminism, poetry, travel, and through our collaborators, they found an entry point to our objects and collections. We will end with a short clip from one of our stories. You can find all of them on our Instagram handle, saved as IGTV videos. So enjoy and happy storytelling.
In episode 6 of DAG Museum Stories, titled Homebound, we look at the fragility of the idea of a home through artworks that echo some of the images from the news today. A woman leaves her house for work, carrying a heavy load on her head. The painter, Gopal Ghosh, used to cycle around the countryside acquainting himself with the land and its people. He seems to have encountered a woman, rushing as the wind whips around her in hurried and whirling brush strokes. The trees behind her are caught in a similar flurry. Despite the wind, the scene seems to be blazing with heat, in shades of vermilion, ochre, and acrid yellow. It burns brightest inside the small house, and the coarse, jagged strokes of the branches swallow it whole as it chars and blazes. 63-year-old Shabitri Midha of Pakiraloy village in the Sundarbans had lost 9 bighas of land to the unpredictable Bidathori river over the last 30 years. Her only remaining property, the solitary hut where she lived, was demolished by the cyclone Amphan. The Wire reported on 28th May. In Gobardhan Ash's depictions of the Bengal famine of 1943, we see emaciated human forms standing in front of broken homes through a haze of burnt sienna and brown. The agricultural abundance and greenery that the Bengal basin was known for has disappeared completely. Ash chose not to dwell on individual trauma in his art, as he believed that we do not see individual objects each with its own colors, but rather a bright medley of tints which blends in our eyes. In this case, they were the colors of a parched land and its people. He was one of several artists who documented the man-made famine of Bengal in the early 1940s. But unlike the stark accusatory ink strokes of his contemporaries Zainul Abedin and Chitta Prasad, Ash captured the emotional impressions of people who had lost their homes and livelihoods. On 26th May, Scroll interviewed Chandan Das of Uttar Gopalnagar village in the Sundarbans, who owned 2 bighas of land. Cyclone Amphan has destroyed their home, and even their paddy fields are submerged under seawater, leaving them with no shelter or sustenance. The lonely figure in this woodcut by Horin Das carries every earthly possession that she has on her shoulders. Leaning on a crooked but sturdy stick, she trudges down a rough and jagged road, wearing worn-out slippers. But is she really alone? She has for a companion a dog, lean but spirited, judging by his tail. Perhaps Das alludes to the final journey of Yudhishthir, where he was accompanied by Dharma in guise of a dog whose side he refused to leave, even when he entered the gates of heaven. Horindash, who drew unsentimental portraits of rural Bengal, uses the stark contrasts of the woodcut to bring out the unsheltered nature of this woman's journey, as she carries her home on her shoulders. But what is her destination, we wonder, if she's already lugging around all her belongings? Between 2nd and 13th May, as reported by the Hindustan Times, Sataria Hembrom and 6 other migrant workers walked 1800 kilometers from Mumbai to their homes in Chaibasha in Jharkhand, covering over 40 kilometers each day and resting at petrol pumps on the wayside.